Hello, everybody. Let's see, hold on. I'm gonna get like, oh, that's a cool one. I think I'll do that. All right. I don't have a lighting crew, so, okay, so let me get this off. Whoa. No, cancel that. Okay, so, all right. I wanted to go live tonight. I needed to practice my guitar anyway, and I was thinking this all day, so it's not just to practice. For sure, it's not. You know, when you're at the end of the day and you're just tired, and it's like, all right, let's just go that extra mile today, right? Show up again, just show up. And so I did it. I recorded a teaching. I haven't posted it yet. And on the teaching, I can't even remember what was on the teaching. I did it just a few days ago. But when I'm in that mindset, I'm just present with what was being said, and I didn't review it. But I know that the song One was coming to me by U2. And I'm not sure if someone asked me to do it before. I know someone asked me to do a U2 song, but I don't think it was this one. Maybe it was. But anyway, I figured I could do it live, because then U2 won't get mad. I'm so careful about that. So I am a psychologist in my day job. My name is Dr. Cheryl Meier, if you're watching this later. I'm not doing this to play a song per se. I'm doing this because I have this weird gift. It's now that I look back, it's been since I was a little kid. And hold on, let me get this filter thing off. Okay, well, I guess it's just gonna keep showing there. There, okay, figured it out. Since I was a kid, where I would just get songs, you know how everyone hears things. Sometimes you hear things in your intuition and your inner, all of us have an inner knowing. And the more you develop that and you're aware of yours, the more, it's just like building a muscle. You exercise that muscle and it gets stronger. It's just like when I practice the guitar. So sometimes I find as a psychologist that people, we get sometimes we get lost in our own problems, and so it's difficult for us to actually our problems hide themselves, and they show up in our relationships with other people. Go figure, right? And so people will sometimes come into therapy and they think their problems are these other things out here. I've got a problem with my mother-in-law. I've got a problem with my friends at work or whoever. But okay, so it's like, here's the core. Your problem is within you. Just like Jesus said, the kingdom of God is within you. Like, the problem is right here, and it just shows up in all these different areas of your life. And so people come in and like, help me fix my finances, help me find a job that matches me or whatever. And it's like, if you know your real worth and why you're here, and you know your purpose for being here and what your calling is, and these types of things, when you know this, then all of these outer problems start working themselves out. They really do. This is not just cliche, all right? And so I'm hearing a quote just that I used to know, that it was like, in coming to understand anything, we must reject the facts as we know them to be and live the facts as they are. I can't remember who said that, like a poet or someone said that. Obviously, someone said it, but anyway. So right now, I know it looks like I'm just blah, 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 but I invite you, if you showed up and you made it this far, to enter into this in a meditative state, in a contemplative state. Just trust that it came to you for a reason. And just like I will trust that I'm doing it for a reason, to give back to somebody in this world, someone that needed not that you needed this, but that this creative way came to you for you to heal from very old wounds, right? So the thing that I do, this weird gift that I have, that, you know, I'm doing my best to get better at, to hone for all of us, and I have a patent pending on it too, right? Is I see the ego path and the soul path in songs. And so we're going to do this pop song. We're going to do this U2 song 1. I just looked it up and I went through the first verse, part of the second. So I don't know. Hopefully I'll remember it all. But how it goes. But so you'll see, it'll present itself. I was friends with this musician named Elliott Smith. He's passed away now. And in so many of his songs, he has this very pronounced, there's a song called Lost and Found, hanging around in the lost and found, where it's like you're dying to your old self. You're hanging around in the lost and found. Now you're found. You found your true self. You've lost your old self. And you thought that you were lost in this world because you were looking at yourself from this old mindset. And so Jesus said, in order to follow me, you must take up your cross every day. And the world misses this. Maybe 95% of the world misses this. It's like when Jesus is talking about the narrow path, Jesus is always talking about highest consciousness, how to free you for real, so that you live in consciousness and you live awake. You live in true love. You live in truth. You stop living, running around, trying to get your worth from something that could never give you your worth. You'll see, I mean, you've already seen, you know, how many times can someone get drunk and find their worth in that? You get high and then you get back low again. You know, how much money do you need in your bank account before you finally feel worth and know what your purpose is? Like if you want to call it like the Babylon system or the devil, the Satan's matrix, or the devil, the enemy of our soul, because we battle not against flesh and blood, but powers and principalities in high places, wicked things in high places. I looked up that verse today. It's Ephesians 6, I think. But it was like, we'll just hook you in and drag you all about. And you don't have to understand all of what I'm saying. You know, I don't want you to get freaked out because I said the word the devil, right? But you know in this world by looking out that there are dark forces. And just think, you know, I was just getting a download about this, a revelation about this in my inner mind. If you just keep going around in circles, you know, like that Coldplay song, chasing our tails. Let's go back to the start. It's like, if you keep doing this, or like that Oasis song, that's what I'm hearing now. It's like slowly walking down the hall faster than a cannonball, right? It's you get all these different senses of time. It's just like Narnia. Anyway, if you're just running around trying to get more money and then just going up and down on this cycle, you never know your real worth. You don't, like, I have this heart. You don't get back to the center and know that you are love and that you can be love, a force on this world, like an amazing force for good, right? All right. Oh, wow, look, I have this heart. I have this quote. I'll read it for us. Okay, it says, to the degree that you are a slave to your appetites is the degree you will step over other people to fulfill them. And so it's the same. You'll attract other people that will step over you to fulfill their appetites, right? All right, I'm going to try to tilt it down so that if I ever want to sing this song again, I'll be able to look at the chords. And you too, if you too, get it? Haha, it's a U2 song, okay. I'm just going to start it now. Is it getting better? Or do you feel the same? Will it make it easier on you now? Oh, you got someone to blame. You say one love, one life, when it's one need in the night, one love, and we get to share it. Well, it leaves you, baby, if you don't care for it. Did I disappoint you? Or leave a bad taste in your mouth? You act like you never had love, and you want me to go without. Well, it's too late tonight to drag the past out into the light. One, not the same. We get to carry each other. Carry each other. One. Have you come here for forgiveness? Have you come to raise the dead? Have you come here to play Jesus to the lepers in your head? Did I ask too much? More than I lied? Well, you gave me nothing, now it's all I got. Well, we're one, but we're not the same. Well, we hurt each other, then we do it again. You say love is the temple, love a higher love. Love is the temple, love the higher love. You ask me to enter, then you make me crawl. I can't be holding on to what you got when all you got is hurt. One love, One life, you got to do what you should. One life with each other, sisters, brothers. One life, but we're not the same. We get to carry each other, carry each other. One, one, one. All right. Oh, hi. People showed up. I'm glad. I was just, I sang the song one just now from U2. And then I'm going to go back. Thank you. Thank you so much for the like. Anyone else that comes and watches this later, feel free to like this and share it and make sure to subscribe, because you never know if I'll ever show up in your feed again. It's just funny like that. And so I am a psychologist in my day job. And what I do now then is I'm going to enter in the song with you, and we'll just look at how this brings up our psychological insights. And I can't see the chat. Let me see if, thank you guys, thank you. Live chat. Okay, well anyway, new timeout links. Okay, got it. I don't know what that means. All right, so let's go back. Let's go to the beginning. It goes, is it getting better? Or do you feel the same? All right, so when we're following our ego path, when we're following our lower mind, let's just say it's like programming that we got from childhood. When we're following that, we're always, the ego, oh, I have a list of what the ego is always looking for. I brought it to work today, of all places, right? I mean, I guess I would as a psychologist, but I was, anyway, the ego is always looking, it's always looking for, let's see where I have it. Oh, it might be in my journal over there. It's always looking for, who to blame, how it can feel more important, how you can get something. It's never in the now, okay? And so this is what I love about songs, is it brings us into the now. And so you're entering in. And when you're in a relationship, you're asking, wait, is it getting better? When you first meet someone, and it's not love bombing. I'm so into breaking people free from the whole narcissistic thing. All of my videos are essentially about that, the narcissistic pattern, because our world runs on the collective consciousness, which is like a narcissistic pattern. But let's focus in on this. So you go into this relationship, and I love what Eckhart Tolle says in The Power of Now. He says that, like, at first you're so excited, the relationship looks like it's going to solve all your problems because you're getting outside of yourself. You're loving the other person and you feel their love and you get to forget about yourself. Now, the good news of all of that is if you learn how to go through the dark night of the soul and die to your ego self, then you get to live in that state all the time. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. And it's very painful to get there. And it's painful because I was taught, and this is why I teach you guys this, is it's as hard as you resist. And so I often say to my clients, if they're holding on to my couch, and they want to get out the door, like done with therapy, like healed and more centered and grounded in the present moment, more artistic flow, if you want more love flowing from God, from the divine love. I call God divine love oftentimes because people have this limited idea of God. And God is so much bigger than the box that we put God in. So if you want that, if you want all these great things, highest consciousness, acting in relationship with yourself and other people and with God, not based on triggers and reactions from the past. If you want that, it's like, it's very easy, but it's as hard as you resist. As long as you're holding onto the couch, and that's just a metaphor, a picture of, if you're holding on to your old programming, if you have built an identity, let's say my parents always said I was garbage, I was trash, or whatever. If I start, wearing a mohawk and thinking I'm super cool because I'm punk rock, and punk is awesome, like there's a lot of really important things that came out of punk, but if I didn't know myself, let's just say I had a mohawk, that's just me expressing myself. But if I built an identity out of that, and then I was like, I can't leave my house unless I got my combat boots on, and blah, blah, blah. I'm going back to like the 80s just for a second here. But if or goth or whatever after that, if that was what I was building my identity on, I'm building my identity on something that's reactive, something that's, I'm trying to look for my identity out there in this thing, in this made up identity. All right. And so what's amazing, what's so great when you first get into a relationship is you get to forget yourself, you get to be present, and so the beginning of the song shows us, is it getting better, or do you feel the same? Now, what happens in relationships is we can start triggering each other. And so our past, they say the power struggle begins anywhere between 2 hours into a relationship and 2 years. So sometimes people can fake it and just keep going off of that high for a long time until they recognize that they are getting triggered by the other person. And what triggered means, let me get that chart out. Well, we don't have to. I like the chart. I really do. I don't want to look down. All right, so, but I have it on this yellow piece of paper, and I kept using it, and it's just so helpful. Here it is, all right? Okay, so understand what trigger is, and then we'll go back with the song. The song, I always trust that the song will just lead us through, all right? And so something happens, like let's say you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Let's just say it's a boyfriend. I don't know why, but let's say it's a boyfriend. And I really am a doctor. I have been for a long time, long time, for over 20 years. Anyway, and so he's coming over to the house, and not Netflix and chill, where he just is coming over to help out or something. And he said he would take out the trash. And this is just a trigger that I use, right? And it didn't happen, right? So you're just like, what? You said you would take out the trash. And this could be anything, right? And so I'm totally keeping this. Anyway, and so what that does is that reminds you of other times it can trigger in your life. I'm just naming a trigger in your life. Other times when other people said they were going to do something and help you in your life, and they didn't. And so let's say this is your consciousness, and this is the thing they did, and it just taps into all this old baggage of other people not showing up, or your parents not taking self-responsibility, not dealing with their own baggage. And so this one thing that this person does gets all of this rage. This is trigger rage, right? If we want to call it. And we throw it on the other person. Now, if they have this same stuff from their unconscious, from their past, then it's like two people. Just imagine two people throwing all their baggage on one another. And so this is why the beginning of this song, I know, I just trust it. And I did actually do it, a whole mindfulness crowd. I had 50 people or more on this Zoom. They asked me, I'm just remembering it now, it was like 2 years ago, to do this song. I know it was a U2 song. I'm pretty sure it was this one because the leper in your head reminded me of it. But anyway, we're doing a fresh teaching of this now. But I do trust that this will teach us everything you want to know about how to heal yourself and your relationships, your relationship with with divine love, with God, and your relationship with other people through this U2 song, right? Not just because they were Christian or whatever. It's just, I have all sorts of songs I've done this with, like Queen songs. Elliott Smith was a friend of mine, and we just had the most amazing conversations about songs. But anyway, he's a musician that's passed away. And I always am quoting his songs because his songs come to me quite readily. Because I meditate every day, so I just get stuff. Anyway, okay, so here's the event. Here's what gets triggered. And so what we want to do is, the more you are present in your life, the more you do the inner work, or just learn how to stop identifying with the mind constructs that say, oh, you are worthless unless you earn this amount of money. You are worthless unless you look like this, or unless you do this or accomplish this, or whatever. I'm so detached from that stuff as much as I can, so that it's sometimes my mind's like, what was that? Where did we try to get our identity before? Because I so train myself, and I'm not saying I'm perfect at all, but I teach other people to keep training yourself not to get your identity from that, because then you're lost in this world. You just go around in circles, and you don't. Anyway, and so a lot of this is, the more you learn how to get conscious, and these are like hearts and pluses and stuff, and like the little birds represent the Holy Spirit to me. So the more you get renewing of your mind, the in Greek it's the word metanoia, which is a metamorphosis of your nous, your nous. Gandalf quotes it in the Lord of the Rings, in the movie. I think it's in the book as well. Anyway, metanoia. The more you heal this, the less. Even if you go fully unconscious, you're not gonna throw it on other people. All right, that's basically what inner work is. And so let's go back to the song. So both people can ask, or one person can ask, is it getting better? Or do you feel the same? Will it make it easier on you now? Well, you got someone to blame. Okay, and so look, when we're here, we'll just use this again. When we're here, this person, let's just say they're 20 minutes late to somewhere, and that triggers you. That makes you start going into your old mindset of, it's because of me, I don't measure up, they're never going to show up in my life, or whatever. You start going into, I have this all over my journal. This was my journal today. I started writing when I had some extra time at work, but DTS, I write DTS everywhere. It's like, drop the story, all right? And so, but let's say this person is late, and then you guys can name any triggers as well if you want to put in the comments, if you dare. I can name any comments here. I mean, any triggers here, but if any come to mind that are common, is so. And you can also just put where you're from as well if you want to do that. That I just hear other people doing that, so I'm like, feel free. I don't know. I kind of just don't go by the book. Like, I just do my own thing, so I don't know. Okay. Anyway, I do know. I'm present. So let's say someone's super late or whatever, or 10 minutes late or 20 minutes late, and it starts tapping into this. Now, it's a lot easier this looks very daunting, right? It looks very daunting to look at, to deal with, but it's worth dealing with it. If you start dealing with your baggage, then you become more and more conscious. And so even if someone triggers you, you won't go full trigger. You'll You'll be more conscious. You'll be balanced. I say this all the time now. It's like an affirmation. I am emotionally mature. And when you say these I am statements, I can say them in a spiritual sense because I know in Christ I am a new creation. Now I welcome all religions, but I know in Christ I am a new creation. So I can say I am emotionally mature because in that it's kind of like a prayer. I'm asking God, make me whole, make me more loving, make me more conscious, make me more aware of the love that you have for every person and the love that you have for me, and help me be aligned with that. Now, as you do that, then if someone is here and they do something, you're not looking for someone to blame. This is saying, is it getting better? Like, are we both working on getting more conscious? Is it getting better? Or do you feel the same way as I do, where we're all of our old pain? Eckhart Tolle in the book The Power of Now talks about, he calls it the pain body, and it can go dormant and be asleep for a while, or it can come back alive. You know, it's like poke the bear, or someone's poking the bear, and then it gets activated with each other. It's like, do you feel the same? Do you feel all the pain from your childhood now? All of a sudden, it's my fault and I'm your fault, you know, because will it make it easier on you now because you have someone to blame? And it's like, you don't have to. The more you work on this stuff, you don't have to blame anyone, because you learn that you can be whole, and it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. I'm not just saying this, but just stick around. We'll do the song, and I trust whoever's finding this later and on the live. Just trust that you're here for a reason. Like, it's the most random thing, and feel free to keep liking. I appreciate it, because that tells other people, watch this stuff. Anyway, and so I appreciate your presence. This is wild for me to go live, right? I'm just like, let's do this. It's late at night here. All right, and so will it make it easier on you now? You have someone to blame. You've got someone to blame. You say, one love, all right? No, I always go back to that. I always go back to to this oneness. Now, I said I welcome all religions, but so if you think of, we all came from the same creator. Oh, this is Celtic. This is a Celtic cross, like U2, the band from Ireland, right? It's Irish. And so you say one love, one life. And so we all came from the one. I'm part Native American, and they say, there's this word, matakiwashin, and it means we're all in God's dream right now. We're all in the mind womb of God. Look, right, it's 33 minutes into this. We all come from this one place of oneness, from the same creator, all right? And so you say one love, one life. You know, we all have this one life. Wow, I have this Marcus Aurelius quote that I put on Twitter today. And he was saying, I'll try to put it in words for us. It was in words, but he said, don't act like you have a myriad of years left to live. Understand your destiny is pressing upon you. Live. He was basically saying live now, as if you have few years, because you have no idea how many years you have. So find the good now and learn how to be good now. And so that was Marcus Aurelius from 170 AD. All right. And so so in this U2 song, it says, you say one love, one life. Well, it's one need in the night. All right. And so we know what's going on in the world, and I won't get into that because I don't want to sidetrack us. But it's like, oh, Elliot had this. My friend Elliot had this in a song. He said, you only live a day, but it's brilliant anyway. You'll be beautiful confusion. Ooh, ooh, once I was you. We call it Future Butterfly. I'd be like, sing the butterfly song. Like, so funny back then. Like, I love him. I loved him. Like, anyway. So, but, so some people call this one day that we're living, and it's a lot. I did a whole hour and a half for something teaching on the Big Star song 13, because Elliot and I would talk about that, and he would sing that. I blush. It was so sweet. But that's like, let me take you to the dance. It's like looking at life like this metaphor for all of it's like this dance that we dance together. And you can dance in harmony and in truth and in wisdom. And you can have the highest consciousness, right? Anyway, and so you say, okay, so I was saying, so we're going through this U2's song, and it's going to teach us all the insight we need to know about highest consciousness and love, and I love it. I love it because art does this. Art does this. So psychology is like a science, and so I have my doctorate in that. It took me 9 years to get my doctorate, and then I've been practicing for forever after that, right? A long time, not forever, but. And so, well, it's one need in the night when you're in. So that's what I was saying. Elliot was saying you only live a day, and then there's this night. I think of what I think of when I see night is I often think of the Psalms. The Psalms are a song, and King David was a man back in the day who was a king, right? And he said, "The Lord is my shepherd. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, that is the best thing. They comfort me." It's so awesome because the rod is like, it beats off the wolves that come at us. If you know divine love, if you know God actually as your shepherd, if you meditate a lot and sit with God, then you'll see that God will be your shepherd. It's really amazing because it's like the rod beats off the people that come at you, and the staff, one or the other, one of them has the hook, like the shepherd's hook, and gets you every time you're wandering off and going off the cliff. It catches you back. So it's like, yeah, these two things, they comfort me. They're a lot more than that. Like a rod can be a king. It's like a shepherd king. But anyway, I won't go into all the symbology of all of that. But basically, anytime we walk in confusion, we're in this psychological night. Anytime we see our shadow self, this is sort of this chart that I was showing earlier is like, it's showing our shadow self. This is the baggage that we've collected from other people hurting us in our past. And this is our consciousness. And this is the event. This is some trigger that someone does. And it stirs up all of this. If they yell at us, it reminds us of all the other people that yelled at us. And all of a sudden we want to throw all of these punches, and I don't recommend that. I'm not recommending violence. I'm just saying we get so mad at them. It's as if they threw all the punches and they're confused because they feel it. They feel your wrath. And it's so no bueno. It's not good for relationships. I'm not trying to minimize that or laugh about it. I'm just saying, like, what else can we do is like take self-responsibility. And so, well, you say, right? This other person saying, we're just acting as if this is a relationship. You say one love, one life. Well, it's one need in the night. When you're in the dark night, even the night of when you're lost in egotism, when you're lost in your addictions, when you kept going back to that one toxic thing that you didn't want to keep going back to, and you're just sucked into that, and you don't know how to get your worth outside of that, and then you feel shame, and then you go down on that shame downward spiral, and then you use again, and then you feel bad, and all of that stuff can happen. And so it's like it turns into, it looks like a need. Well, it's one need in the night, in this dark night that you feel lost in. I'm like, I don't want to stay in that place. I'll describe it. I don't mind describing it, but well, it looks like a need, but like once you learn how to free yourself from that, because God will work with you, like the universe, if you want to call it the universe, it's divine love, right? Will work with you to help you be centered and grounded and know real love, that it's like when Jesus said, the peace that passes all understanding. I came to give you this love, this peace, this knowing. You can have this knowingness within yourself. It's not just from mind chatter. This is mind chatter when you just keep going after one addiction after another, and it looks like you think, oh, this is the solution. I'll do another spiritual class. I did so many spiritual classes, or anyway, you gotta, it's important. You don't have to do anything, but I invite you to look at the doors you're opening, to try to take shortcuts. You don't need to take any shortcuts. You don't need anything weird, occult. You don't need any substances. Like, you don't need any of that. I'm like pure water, and then I have like a Lord of the Rings sticker. Of course, Tolkien. Like, where can you go without J.R. Tolkien? Like, I love that man. Look here, I have on my desk. Life is a balance of, someone broke it, but I kept it. Life is a balance of holding on and letting go. It's Rumi, the Sufi poet Rumi said that. All right, and so, okay, so you say one love, one life. Well, it's one need in the night. You know, it looks like it's one need. Oh, I just need this one thing. Ah, I had this client a long time ago, and I won't identify male or female, but the person kept saying, if my spouse would just do this one thing, this is just the one thing that this person could do to be decent. And it's like, dude, oh, whoops, I don't know if it's a guy or a girl, dude. I'm like, you know, your idea of what that one thing could change every day. And it's not about the one thing. It's about this person wasn't seen, and this person represents all of us. All of the sadness and the hurt and the anger, this is why I've done so many videos about forgiveness. This person was holding on to all this unforgiveness for other stuff, and they just kept thinking, if this person would stop triggering me with this little tiny sliver, then they'd stop bringing up my pain body. But you know, you have to start knowing yourself. Know yourself. Be really present. Again, this is why I use songs. It's like, be really present, to know yourself so much beyond your pain body or your addictive self or the toxic things or any of the old patterns any of that stuff. Just you take a deep breath and ask yourself right now, who am I? Like, who am I? Who am I beyond my skin color, beyond my hair, beyond my name, beyond my face? Like, I just feel like a being right now. I'm just a being, you know, being. And it's like, if we're made in the image and likeness of God, then you got nothing to lose. You can just be at ease, and this being can flow through you. And you came in here naked and you leave naked. And so it's like, what do I have? I got nothing to prove. Where's that? There's a song that's saying something like that. I think I'm hearing the Missy Higgins song where it says, would you leave me with a scar, you know? The next one came with a bar of soap and tried to clean me up this way. And anyway, okay, so you say, one love, one life, when it's one need in the night. Well, it's one love, and we get to share it, baby. Leaves you, baby, if you don't care for it. Okay, so the world will tell us, oh, it leaves you, baby, if you don't care for it. The world will tell us, right? Now, the church describes this. I like this definition, so don't get freaked out if I said the word the church. The ancient church, let's say, ecclesia in Greek, they say there's the world, the flesh, and the devil, okay? And so these are the three main influences. It's just one way to break this down, just like we have all sorts of psychological terms for things. But so the world, one way the world will tell you, and your own flesh will tell you, and the devil will tell you this too, is that, oh, it leaves you, baby, if you don't care for it. Here, this is how you got to care for me. Buy me fancy clothes, buy me, you know, some fancy purse. I don't even have any fancy purses. So I'm like trying to make up, what would I ask someone to buy me? Nothing. Like, buy me a fancy car. You gotta care for me by like listening to a 4-hour story. Like, no, like, you know, whatever, you know, or yeah, if it's a guy, it's like, you care for me by doing this, this, and this. I'm like, I can roll my eyes. Anyway, the world will say you have to do these things, right? And it's like, or make me feel important, or always look good next to me. I don't know. That's called distorted masculine. That's a reactive masculine. That's not the true masculine. Some people call it like a divine masculine and a divine feminine. Now, the divine feminine, because we all have some of both, but is just like flowing inspiration, creative, nurturing. It's lovely. And divine masculine is like, knows what he's doing, is purposeful, is protective in the right way, is direct, and anyway. And so how you care for a relationship, how you nurture a relationship, is by taking self-responsibility and working on not going full unconscious with your baggage. You can just be aware of it. Even just being aware of it, even if you haven't dealt with any of this stuff, just being aware of it and asking divine love, asking God to help you be conscious so that you can be loving other people. It's like the relationship, it's even this, okay? If we go to one love, all right, we come from this oneness. We come from this one love, right? You get to be connected to the divine, connected to heaven, keep your feet grounded on this earth. You're living on this earth, and this is love for other people, right? And so that's the first and second commandment. Like, and those guide us into real wisdom in this life. And so it's one love. When you remember, you come from the divine love. You come from the Creator. It's like, I got nothing to lose. I got nothing to lose. I got nowhere to go but up, because that's where I came from, and my soul has a remembrance of that place and that oneness, and so it longs to go back to that, and it lets go. Come here, Leia. I left my door cracked so that the dog could come in. I think she's there. Anyway, Princess Leia is our dog. Anyway, so one love, we get to share it. So we all get to share in this oneness when we it's like if we're in the middle of getting triggered and we go back to one of the new Star Wars, when I don't like making modern quotes sometimes, but I will for this, right? And we got a U2 song going. So when Kylo Ren says to Rey, he says, "I can train you in the Force," and she's like, oh, the Force, because she was like fighting him and he was just being a bully. He just killed Han Solo. Sorry, spoiler alert if you haven't seen that, right? It was sad. And so she's like, oh, the Force. And she just got back in. You get back in. When you go back to go, wait, one love, and we get to share it. It leaves you, baby, if you don't care for it, if you don't sincerely. Jesus says you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven unless you are like a child, unless you sincerely go back to this deep place of real, guileless, just, I care for it, I care. I have a soul remembrance, and I'm going to follow that. Oh my gosh, if I could just go into my wildest dreams song right now. I mean, I can't mix this song, but maybe I'll play just a part of it, but it goes... Okay, it goes like, oh, I need the capo. I'm just gonna play a little tidbit of one other song. I think I do it on the fourth capo now. But it goes, it's just this remembrance, right? It's going back to the one. Okay, it goes. When the music plays, when the words are touched with sorrow. Oh, I can't go into it right now because maybe it's third capo, but because I'm already in this one place, I think. It's so good, but it goes. When the music plays, when the words are touched with sorrow, when the sound I had to follow. Once upon a time in your wildest dreams. But it's the same thing. It's this oneness. I have to go sing that whole song because I have to start at the beginning. It's so good. It's so good. But it's all once upon a time. Once when you were mine. It's so sweet because, anyway, okay, so we're going back to this. I'll just trust this one love, right? Because that's what we're talking about. One love and we get to share it. Well, it leaves you, baby, if you don't care for it. Okay, we'll go into verse 2 now, right? I'm not planning on keeping this super long, maybe like 20 more minutes or so. Did I disappoint you? Or leave a bad taste in your mouth? You act like you never had love, and you want me to go without. Well, it's too late tonight. Drag the past out into the light. One, not the same. We get to carry each other, carry each other. One. Wow. All right. I hope you're hearing this. You hear, and then the people that come later is like, when you're lost in egotism, when you don't know yourself as soul, you're a human being. George MacDonald, who was C.S. Lewis's, he considered him his master. He said every C.S. Lewis was Tolkien's best friend, right? He wrote all the Narnia books, but he said, and he had a photographic memory. I went to his house and helped restore it a long time ago. Anyway, he said every book he's ever written, he quoted George MacDonald. George MacDonald was this Scottish writer from the 1800s, and he says, don't teach your kids they have a soul. Teach them they are a soul and they have a body, and so you are a soul. Ah, great. I'm about hi Michelle, welcome. I'm about half an hour south of LA, maybe an hour. I'm in Orange County. Anyway, I just leave it like that. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. I hope you're benefiting from this for all your relationships within yourself, with God, and with other people, right? And so, did I disappoint you? Oh, I'm so glad. And you have art in it. Yeah, I'm so glad. Yes, you have. Okay, and so this woman, Michelle's here, and it's okay if I say your name, just Michelle. But there's art in your name, and it's just like, that's what I love. I love that art can heal us. It's so healing if we let it, if we enter into the magic and like surrender to it. We're in this mystic state. Like, some people think it's so weird. They don't know how to just enter into this beautiful mystic state. Yes, I'm so glad you're here. All right, so thanks for being here. Like, I appreciate it. All right, and so back into this relationship thing is, if you're in egotism, if you don't know yourself as soul, then you're in egotism, and you're in egotism, it's you always are trying to get some other end. You're using the situation for some other end. You're not being present with the person. You're not being present with yourself. You want some kind of outcome. You want like some pleasure from them, or can they make your ego feel better? It's a transactional. Oh, okay. Okay, great. That's so sweet of you. It's fine. Like, I'm used to just going solo. Michelle's talking more to me here, so I welcome you, and I welcome all people that are coming later to this, right? And so when they're in this place, when we're in this place of trying to please the other person, we say, oh, did I disappoint you? or leave a bad taste in your mouth. You're always self-reflecting, like, because you think, right? They have all this rage towards you because of their own past, because you just did this tiny thing. You could have just not taken out the trash. And you're like, wait, I'll take it out now, right? It's not that. It's because it brought up all the times that people have just thrown trash at them, or they felt rejected or neglected or whatever in childhood. You know, we can feel sad about it, but it does not give them permission to rage at us, and it doesn't give us permission to rage at them. Yes. Oh, I'm so glad. Michelle says she can relate. Yeah, we can all relate, right? I'm so glad. I'm so glad. This is just like one of my videos that I made from 7 years ago. Like I started making videos about 4 years ago, but one from 7 years ago when I didn't want to be on the screen. I think I just had a PowerPoint back then. You know, it was like I had a chart like this. It's just so helpful to just keep in mind, oh, okay, there's the trigger, and then here's my old baggage, and I want to get more conscious, and then this gets less and less. But the more I'm just aware of it, the more, you know, there's a Shakespeare quote that really helps. Again, art, right? It's methinks thou dost protest too loudly. And it helps because it's just like whenever I start thinking, no, all of this is that other person's fault, it's like, no, it's tapping into this stuff. And so we start getting insecure because someone else throws their baggage on us. And so we go, wait, did I disappoint you? Or leave a bad taste in your mouth? What can I do to please you? We try to, oh, okay, it disappeared, but I saw about Elliot, and I don't know if you said you skate as well, but anyway, because so yeah, I love skating, and Elliot and I were friends. He was a dear friend of mine before he passed away. It was like yesterday, because he was so super conscious. Elliot Smith was so conscious. It was like all of the conversations we had got like seared into my consciousness. Yeah, it's super sad and special because I remember like every word we ever shared. It was just not because he was famous, because I met him right before he went on the Oscars, right? It's just because he was just so conscious that it was just, I don't know, we had this sense that we knew each other from forever. And so I played him a U2 song actually in his car. We were sitting in his car one time after Largo. I played him the song Wake Up Dead Man, which is like a hidden song of U2's. And anyway, I won't go into all this conversation about it, but it was really cool. Because he's like, what? But he liked the song. He did like that song. He said sometimes, love that you do. Oh yeah, aren't you glad? Like, yeah, I bought my guitar back when I was hanging out with Elliot, and then I didn't start playing it until about for sure after his death, not until maybe about 6 years ago. So that was way after his death. But anyway, I know, right? I didn't know it was gonna be part of my work, but anyway, and it's so beautiful that when I was with Elliot, I had this feeling, right? I kept having this feeling like, if Elliot gets sober, I mean, he wasn't on anything around me except he drank a lot, but he was so conscious that it just like burned through the alcohol. But I kept thinking, when he gets sober, I just had this knowing that we would work together. And when he died, I just bawled my eyes out because I just couldn't understand, because I trusted the knowing that we would be working together as soon as he got sober. And then like now I'm doing these songs and his songs. Sorry, I get emotional. It's like, that's good. That's good that you have friends like him. And so do I too. So we can be that, right? We get to be like the Elliots in this world, right? And sober, right? Okay, so when we get, I'll go back into the song. I'm glad you understand. All right, so it says, did I disappoint you? You start looking at, wait a second, they have all this trigger rage on me. Their pain body is activated. I must have done something. And we love the other person. So it's like, if there are two people, let's just multiply this. There's two people. We love the other person. We want to help with their baggage, but we cannot. We cannot fix their baggage. We can't, even if we don't do that trigger, a different trigger will happen. Something will happen because our baggage wants to get out of us. It wants us, if you look at it like entering in your shadow side, our baggage wants us to stop identifying with it and start knowing yourself as soul. That's what, like the word Buddha means awakened, right? That's what awakening is. Christ is always teaching about highest consciousness and how to awake. But most people, I'm sadly to say, miss it. I'm not trying to be like, oh yeah, I'm so superior. I'm just saying most people, they miss it, even oftentimes in the church, unfortunately. But that's okay, because we get to look at it right now. So who cares? Like, it's not complaining. So we go, did I disappoint you? And I'm using the lyrics from the U2's song One, or leave a bad taste in your mouth. You act like you never had love because you only have this much that you're acting on. You forgot your soul self. You got caught up in the egotism and in your pain body. And when you get into this triggered state, you just think you get sucked into it unless you practice presence. All the time, you get sucked into it. And so you act like you never had love and you want me to go without. Now you're punishing me for all your past, because that's, and I was taught that, and I did my internship in Montreal, and he said, Dr. Alan Serkis, this Jewish man that was our supervisor, he's great. It's like, I had a Jewish supervisor, I'm part Native American, I grew up Christian, I study mindfulness. It's like, I feel like, and I had Elliot Smith as my friend, who was just so conscious in itself. Like it just, and I was surrounded by musicians a lot, right? Isn't that weird? Great. Yeah. Michelle says so nice. Yeah, it is. It is. I love it because I feel like it's not just for me. It's like the universe prepared me. I'm still learning about mindfulness. Yeah. The universe like prepared me to be able to speak to lots of different people, because I want everyone to be free. You don't have to be my same faith practice to be free. All right. And so, so you start going, because you care about the other person, you do love them, right? Did I disappoint you or leave a bad taste in your mouth? What did I do? You act like you never had love. All of a sudden they're identified with, you caused all this pain. And it's like, no, I didn't cause all this pain. This pain is from your past. All that happened is, this is an opportunity for us to be really present and aware while both of us are triggered and blaming the other person. And so as much as you can, go back to being in deep presence, right? So you're acting. Now, even take that word that happens to be in this U2 song. You act like you never had love. It's an act. You do. If you sit in soul remembrance, you'll remember that you did come from God. You're created in the image and likeness of God. I just can think, if you get in a deep meditative state, and I'm not saying you have to do anything weird or take any substances. I'm not saying any of that stuff. Then you can have this remembrance that you once came from. I'm glad it makes sense, right, Michelle? Yeah, but people don't realize that. Our world keeps saying, it's just like the if you want to understand, the serpent in the garden is like, oh, God's trying to withhold stuff from you. So here, take this apple, and then you'll have this knowledge. It's like, you already had that. You already had that. You were one with God, walking with God in the garden. You came from that oneness. And when I met with this Native American Christian shaman, right, which is a weird combination, but his name was Red Elk. He was saying like, it's like you could walk on water. All of us could walk on water and speak telepathically, Adam and Eve and whatever all of that represents. And it's like the devil comes around and is like, here, look, I can give you a boat. You can go on this boat. Or look, you have this telephone. And it's like, you could speak telepathically. You don't need the telephone, but people stopped using those abilities. Now, he was very fantastical and lovely and like said some wild stuff. So I'm not verifying all of that stuff right here. I'm just saying it was really cool meeting with him. And, but it goes to show. And so, yeah, so a lot of this world will say, oh, you need to do this or that. And it's like, you don't. You're acting like you never had love. Right? But go back to this oneness and you can remember that you did have love and you are love, and that love can flow through you. and it's amazing. So Michelle, I'm so glad you introduced yourself. Thanks, I appreciate it. Aw, I'm glad. I know, right? I could go on for 2 hours talking about Red Elk, that's for sure. But I'll keep it on the lyrics. That's why I love using the lyrics, but I don't have permission. Oh, I'm so glad you found me too. She says, I'm happy I found you, right? Yay. Because I'm working with a lawyer, but it's gonna, I don't know, hopefully, I'm just like praying it won't cost a lot of money, or Bono will just watch this one night and be like, please use my song for the good of the world, right? Because I don't have like $900 to pay all these musicians, but I want them to have money for their lyrics. But it's like, I'm doing a service here. Like, it's my teaching through their lyrics. But okay, so that's what I was gonna say, is their lyrics help me stay on this topic so that we can get the whole teaching out. I know, right? He's so cool. Bono is so cool, Michelle says. All right, okay, so I got to touch him once at a concert. He leaned over and like grabbed my arm. I'm like, oh, okay. If I knew, I would have asked him then, hey, can I use your songs in about 20 years from now? I don't know when that was. Okay, anyway, yeah, so awesome, right? Okay, so did I disappoint you or leave a bad taste in your mouth? You act like you never had love and you want me to go, now you want me to go without. And so what happens is when we get triggered, sometimes we start punishing the other people. And the whole book by Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, talks about, there's a chapter called From Addictive to Enlightened Relationships. And he talks about this. It talks about how when someone triggers the pain body, you think that it's that other person. Actually, the person I was at that U2 concert where Bono touched me, we were breaking up that same day, I think, later. That guy was definitely blaming me. I had never had a girlfriend before, blamed me for all his stuff. And I'm like, dude, this is all your stuff. I knew because he was a pastor's kid, but anyway, I knew because I just knew it wasn't mine. Like that was his stuff, but he had never seen it before, because what happens is close relationships will bring this up. Yay. And so this is why, we can get along with work friends or school friends and this stuff doesn't always come up. But then in close friendships or, relationships, romantic relationships, this stuff from our childhood, because we let them in, and then it starts triggering old stuff from our childhood. And so it's like, now you want me to go without, right? You act like you never had love and you want me to go without. And it's like, no, they don't want you to go without. They're just, that's what it says in From Addictive to Enlightened Relationships with Eckhart Tolle. He says, they're trying to punish you because they think you took away their love. What happened to this love that was just free flowing from you before? And you're acting the same way and you want me to go without, as if someone could cut love off from you. They cannot. But if you're identified with, I must be this bad person because they're throwing all this baggage on me, and I must be the person that's causing them all this pain because they didn't have all this pain before and now they do. And we blame ourselves sometimes, especially, I know as women we can. Yes, I have friends who are like this. Yes. Yeah. Well, and what alcohol does and substances is people will go to substances to just numb out the pain when they don't know that you're not your pain body. You're not your programming. You don't have to use a bunch of alcohol to block that out. Just start owning it. Like, own your shadow. Yeah. See, they numb out the pain, and then one way I've heard people describe it, I hear it lots of different things psychologically. I went to grad school, got, my doctorate. It took me 9 years to do all that. But I like more sometimes what I hear, just how other people describe it in slang terms, I guess, if you want it. There's like, they call it like, it's like if these people have open doors. I did this one video where I did a remix. If you look through later, the remixes, when you find Lauryn Hill, she was talking about the Matrix, and she's just like, now I understand what life is about. It's like in the Matrix, there's these agents, and they'll hop into people and attack you through those people. And so that's kind of like what happens when people aren't conscious. They leave open doors. And when they go to alcohol, it's like, it's called spirits, you know, and I'm not saying all alcohol is bad or anything. Yeah, but they leave open doors, and it's like, then even if we think of it as just programming, you don't have to, yeah, I know. Well, if we think of it like just our programming from childhood, and no, I do too. I'm just agreeing with you, and I don't have to say it out loud. But I don't mind saying it out loud. But I'm not afraid of the other thing too. It's just everything in moderation, sobriety, and like not excess. You know, I always have my one, and then I'm done. Like that's what I do. I mean, anyway. But anyway. But it's we can demonize anything, right? It's like be sober in all things. But what I'm saying is just if we're drunk, let's say, yeah, Benja's not, yeah. If we're drunk on our egotism and on trying to prove our worth through working all the time, it can be like that. It can be any of this stuff. If we're just trying to prove our worth. And so you act, all of a sudden you're acting like you never had love. And now you want to punish me too. And Elliot had that song, Miss Misery. Do you miss me? Miss Misery, like MISS period. Do you miss the misery that we shared together? And a miser, someone who's miserable, is able to be a miser with love. And so instead of letting love flow through you and you're in your soul self, you get caught up in your ego self. And when you're in your ego self, you get lost and you're going in circles and you go to addictions instead of letting this love flow. And so when you, okay, and so you act like all of a sudden you never had love and you want me to go without. Well, it's too late tonight, in this night of the world, you know, it's too late in this game. We're way deep in this relationship. We're connected now, and it's too late to, and now sometimes it's late at night and you guys have been fighting and you're just, I can't go into all of this and solve all of the problems right now. But if you look at the night as like it's too late, as in we're deep into this, and we're deep into the night, our shadow self, with activating with each other to drag the past out into the light, you know, like you did this 5 years ago when we were first dating and blah, 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 or, you know, now we're married and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's too late to drag the past out into the light. But the light is what's going to heal all of this stuff, right? And so, but when you're in egotism, it looks like this is the light. I'm going to just shine this on you and you're all the bad. And that's not the light. You know, when you come to the light, you're like Gandalf in The Lord of the Rings when he faced the Balrog and went down and came back and he was light as a feather. And it's like you go through the dark night of the soul and you're light. You are, there's a lightness of being. You're not blaming other people for your stuff anymore. You're deeply present. You know your deeper self. You stopped. Like Gandalf couldn't even remember his name for a while because we said it was like lifetimes that he had to face away, and he came back. But that's a picture of the transformation that can happen. People don't realize, like Jesus was always talking about this transformation. Christ was always talking about this transformation. But it's hard for people to see this. It's hard for people to know that this is a transformation that everyone is worth having. You're all worth having and knowing this love. And so it's too late. We're going with this U2 song to teach us these psychological and spiritual truths. It's too late tonight to drag the past out into the light. We're one, but we're not the same. We get to carry each other, right? I'm going to do that one part, right? Too late tonight, drag the past out into the light. One, not the same, we get to carry each other, one. All right. And so it's so fun to return back to the music, because it's like if we were all fighting, like I'm describing all this with you guys, right? And we're talking about how we get triggered in relationships and how we're blaming it on the other person, and we think that's all them, but it's really our own stuff. And the more, when you go back to the music, it's like, oh, I forgot. One of my friends, he's so sweet. He's so sweet. He was saying to me the other day, he was like, what, take it easy. Like, that's easy for you to say, right? But it's like, because I won't go into some of the stuff I have to face, but I do know someone that has, they say he has about 8 or 9 more weeks, maybe less, to live. And so I just visited with him last week, and it really puts perspective on your life and your purpose here, and what am I wasting my time for, Yeah, I know. It's my kid's uncle, so I've known him for a long time, my ex-brother-in-law. And we have the same exact birthday, and so it's really, really weird, because we'd always text each other. Yeah, life is super short, Michelle's saying. Yeah, and so we text each other, happy birthday, and it's like, it's just, I hope there's going to be some turnaround, but he has a giant brain tumor. Anyway, and so it's like, okay, so here, let's go back to the song. The song helps calm us down and bring us back to this soul awareness that our life has a higher purpose than the stupid fighting and the stupid running to numb, and stupid is just stooping your id, taking away your own life force, your own power. So you have power. If we were created in the image and likeness of God, we have power to look at these things and to face them in a real way. And so it's tonight to drag the past out into the light. We talked about that. We're not the same. We're not the same as the other person. We're not the same if we're male and female or whatever. We're not the same because you have your programming, the things people taught you when you were a little child. Like if my parents say, I love you, but they beat me, or they let my grandfather spank me really hard when I was little, like 4. And so it's like, I was just reflecting on it today. So it was like, oh yeah, I see how that's still playing out here. And it's like, how long is that gonna, oh, okay, forgive the person again, and like, don't. But anyway, if someone does that, then as a little child, you can take in the message, I'm doing something wrong when I wasn't. I'm bad and I'm not safe, right? And so it's like, you see how someone else shows up in your life and they do something slight, but it feels like all of a sudden I'm not safe, and you go into this, helpless state again, or you feel like you're a child, or your mind. I mean, this is what mindfulness, Michelle, we were talking a little bit about that. It's like, helps if you just learn how to be present. It's just like the verse, be still and know that I am God. When you learn how to be mindful, even for like 10 minutes a day, just imagine if you did 10 minutes a day of just being present, and like, I'm going to take 10 minutes a day, your psyche starts knowing, oh yeah, I have that 10 minutes every day. I mean, that's what prayer is meant to be. Yeah. And so it just calms you down, just like the song calms us down, where like, oh, I know how to be present. And so then when your mind starts going, when you do feel triggered with someone else, you don't go down that path. You're just like, oh, no, I can be right here. I can be really present. And so we're one, but we're not the same. We're not the same as our egotism. Our present day personality self. Like yes, I have a role as a mom and as a friend and all these things, but I'm not my roles. Like, I'm not just a teacher or whatever I am, or a psychologist. It's I am this being. I am. Just like when Moses said, who shall I tell them sent me? God said his name was, I am that I am. I'm that I am. I am the I amness that's in all of us. So you can just stop with I am. Thanks for the like, everyone. And if you come around here later, make sure to like this and share it. Push the share button, even if you're not going to share, but share it for sure, because this is a unique thing. I've loved Moses. Oh, that's wonderful. Yes. Okay, so you have this affinity with Moses. No wonder. It's so weird, because I'm like, why am I bringing up Moses? It just sit with it, Michelle. Like, she says she has this affinity with Moses. You don't have to like dissect it all, But Moses was this mystical man that kind of saw into both realms, and he was, yeah, you feel connected. He was able to see the burning bush. He was able to be in the presence of God. And all of us came from that. Remember when I was talking about, we're one. We come from this oneness. And so Moses sort of represents that. He represents that to us. He's a symbol of that, and he was that. He was the connection. That's what a priest, we're all called to be. It says we're a royal priesthood. We're all called to be priests and saints. And so if you understand it like a priest brings God to the people and brings the people to God, you know. And so Moses was like that, and he was a prophet. But anyway, just sit with it and ask God, why do I have this connection with Moses, you know? But I'm sure there's lots of really, really cool reasons why, right? That's a mystery to enter into. Okay, so we're one. Yeah, I encourage you for that. We're not the same. We're not. I say this is like, we're not the same as our egotism. We're not. We're the same as God, but we forgot that. We have a forgottenness of that. We get to carry each other like we're doing right now in a way, Michelle, right? We're carrying each other. We, you know, you encouraged me when I'm doing this to encourage other people, right? Or we're carrying each other just by sharing presence with each other, actually, right? And you have this affinity for Elliot, and I got to be friends with him, and so it's like we're carrying on like Elliot's spirit, if you will, but not in a weird way. Like, I'm not saying to speak to any of the dead. I'm not saying like that. Anyway, so we get to carry each other, and so even having presence, okay? Even if you think of like praying for your friends, I do this a lot. People that I have to cut off. It's like, I love you. I learned this from this woman named Latoya Okia. She's like, I love you. God bless you. Bye. Bye. It's like, sometimes you got to love them from a distance. This one other woman says, put that turkey back in the oven. It's just like, it needs to keep cooking. It's awesome. She's talking about like Thanksgiving. If you take the turkey out, I know, right? I know, right? I'm so glad you're here. She says, if you take it out too soon, then you're all poisoned. It's like, nope. And another word she says is like, it's a job for Jesus. I'm like, oh no, that person's a job for Jesus. Because when you grow up, because I grew up with a narcissist, it's like, you are taught that you're responsible for everything. You're responsible for all the bad in the world. You're responsible to fix all the bad in the world. Let me throw all my bad on you. And so sometimes like we keep letting toxic people, even with Elliot, I had to have boundaries with Elliot, you know, because when we were together, it would be really, really intense, you know, and we'd feel this deep connection. But like, I knew that Minnie Driver was anyway, I know she wanted him to call, and he lost her number, and it was before cell phones even. I won't date myself, but anyway, it's like, so I didn't take it personally that he, like, it was, but so anyway, we have to have boundaries with certain people. And so, but when you grow up with a narcissist, you have this idea, like, you're responsible for all the bad in the world. And so sometimes, and you just have to keep accepting my bad and act as if it's no big deal. And so then we learn to keep enabling the narcissist. But what I was going to say is like praying for people from a distance and being like, God, I just wish their highest and best, highest love for them. I pray that they get out of these toxic cycles, and you'll help me to have good boundaries with them, or to know what to say and how to say it, and how to stop going back. Yeah, I know it is what Michelle's bringing up too. It's hard to say no. But yeah, we call it nice, you know, we call it nice. And I always thought it was nice too. And so one thing that has helped me a lot with that is I choose to be kind, not nice. Oh, I have a video and I'm like this. I'm like, I don't know. And it says, stop being nice. And that whole video will talk to you about this. It'll go way into it, because we think it's nice, but it's not nice if someone got in a car accident and they need to do physical therapy for their legs, we cannot move their legs for them. They have to get up. Oh yeah, they have to get up and do the work. They have to, or else they never learn to walk again. So we think it's nice, but it wouldn't be nice if that was our horse and we were doing the physical therapy for the horse. Like the horse needs to learn how to be strong again. And so, but in our childhood, in order to survive, that's what our parents, unconsciously or consciously or whatever, indirectly, they taught us, you're a nice girl, you're a nice boy, if you keep being nice and take all my crap and call it great, you know, and let me use you so that so that you perform, so I feel good about myself as a parent or whatever, you know, I'm living vicariously through you, you perform in all these ways. So they taught us that that's what's the highest important. But if you keep looking at, no, God is love, and love is what's the highest important, not their definition of love, not this ego definition of love, real truth, real wisdom, real kindness, compassion, but also awareness. Stay in awareness that no, I'm doing a disservice. If they're saying, you're nice if you keep bringing me a 12-pack of beer, well, no, you're drunk all the time. It's no longer nice, because then they just use you and then they get mad at you when you stop bringing that in whatever capacity you did. I just use that as an example, but it's like, if I'm enabling them in this other way, like if I was, we get used, and then they feel bad. Even if they're not showing it, I mean, some people are sociopaths, so they don't feel bad. I'm not saying them, but other sort of normal people with narcissistic tendencies, they feel bad in a sense that they stepped on us, that they walked on us, but we let them treat us, yes, and taken advantage of. Yes, because we let them walk on us, right? I'm not trying to tell all your secrets online, right? This is a different person. I'm kidding. So yeah, they walk on us, and then they start disrespecting us because we let them disrespect us, and they feel bad about themselves, and they don't want to be around us because we let them walk on us. And that's just, it's all icky. But guess what? I was like, the good news is it's a new moment right now. So like whatever happened before this moment right now, we can let it go, and like where we have the power is to begin to live in this new consciousness right now, right? And yes, yay. Yeah, I'm so glad, Michelle. Right? Okay, and so, okay, here we go to the next part, right? I love it. Okay, verse 3. Here we go, right? Have you come here for forgiveness? Have you come to raise the dead? Have you come here to play Jesus to the lepers in your head? Did I ask too much? More than a lot? Well, you gave me nothing, now it's all I got. We're one, but we're not the same. Well, we hurt each other, then we do it again. All right. Aw, thanks for the hearts. That was so sweet. Okay, and so have you come here for forgiveness, right? Did you finally come here to say you're sorry, right? We want them to say, we keep imagining, this is our fantasy. This is why it's important to be mindful and be really present and be aware, because then you know you don't need them to apologize anymore. You don't need them for closure. I watched a video today from this woman called Latoya Okeia, Okeia. And she was saying, and it's from 2 years ago, but I was rewatching it. I watched it 2 years ago as well, but it was like, stop expecting yourself from other people. And so she was like talking about like 95% of people will not be like you, will not have like been doing this inner work. And so we give them like the shirt off our back or whatever, and we think it's fine, I can give them everything because they're going to give me everything back, but they're not, because they don't operate that way. They're just like, oh sure, let me have another one. You know, and it's like, wait a second. All right. And so they're not all bad, but it's like, okay, have you come here for forgiveness? Sometimes people come to us for forgiveness. They want us to go, oh, it's okay, all of the bad you did, right? Yeah, and they don't. They don't. Yeah, they don't give back. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. And so, have you come here for forgiveness? Do you want me to just pretend like none of that happened? No, I'm not going to do that. But also, we can start looking at, like, they're not responsible for all our old pain. Okay, yeah. They're not responsible for all our old pain. And so, have you come to raise the dead? Well, this is, in a way, okay, so there's the ego side to this and a soul side to this. And I love going into the soul side because the soul side sets us free, right? Jesus said, if you are truly my disciples, you will do what I'm teaching you, okay? And then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And so people leave out that verse before where it's talking about walk in the truth, and then you'll know it experientially, and it will really, truly set you free. Because I know how depressed I was before, and I know how free I am now. And like, I can still have bad days and stuff, but it's nothing at all like before. And so this is why I'm like, yeah, I want the whole world to know this, right? And so, have you come to raise the dead? Have you come, you know, to bring up the past again and raise up all of these people that are in your past that hurt you, that you're projecting on me, right? And so it's like, have you come here? Have you come here for forgiveness? Have you come to raise the dead? Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. She's saying your talk has made me open and see stuff in a better light, right? I love being compassionate towards all these other people that have hurt us. Like, I love having, like, I worked so much today, even just today, on like fully forgiving people, but not excusing and not bringing them back in. And I did watch a video the other day that was talking about forgiveness is one thing. We're called, you know, in the Our Father, the one prayer that Jesus taught, forgive us our debts as we forgive those who trespass against us, as we forgive. Like, we can't experience this forgiveness of God unless we forgive the other people. But this lady, it was great. She was saying forgiveness, so much respect. Oh, thank you. So many people, the 4 people so far tonight, but whatever, you don't know, this could go to like millions in the future. I have a knowing of that, but I'm not worried about that. But I'm so glad to help. I'm so glad you're here. Like, you know, even if you weren't here, I would know that you were someone like you was going to come later and come across this video, right? And so, where were we? Have we come to, so when we forgive, it opens up our heart center. Aw, I'm so glad, Michelle. It opens up our heart center so love can start flowing again, right? But it doesn't mean we trust the person yet, you know? It doesn't mean they're responsible for all of our old pain. And sometimes we like hate them because we think that they are responsible, but they're not. And it's not their responsibility. Like, look at all the pressure this puts on a guy. You know, I'm talking about guys, but guys for, you know, in a relationship, it puts on your friends too. If we think they're responsible to heal all our old baggage, that we're not willing to let that, right? So you can forgive someone completely and just be like, God, don't hold their debt against them. Someone taught me this on Sunday. I asked a priest, actually. I was like, how do we forgive these unforgivable people, right? And he's like, well, the one thing that he taught us, right? Like, let's learn from him, is that, okay, the last day that they're here on earth, God, like, please don't hold this horrible thing they did to me against them. Don't keep them from heaven for my sake, if it's something like that. And that gave me so much relief. It's like, oh, I can do that. I can be like, all right, you know, when Jesus is on the cross, he says, like, forgive them. They know not what they're doing. They're acting out of their unconsciousness. All right. And so it's just like, but we're saying, I release, as long as you're still waiting for them to repay you, you are waiting for, like, I know it's funny, right? Michelle's laughing. It's like, you're waiting for them to give you some scraps. They don't know, like, you have the ability to plug right into real love, the fullness of love, the fullness and the abundance of love, but we're waiting for their scraps. So actually, when we forgive them, I just did a 1.5 minute video on that. I mean, I'm reposting it from somewhere else, but when we forgive them, it was so good. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot. You're tapping into divine love when you forgive them. You're asking God, hey, take this debt from me so I don't have to wait for scraps anymore, so you can give me the real thing, right? And so, have you come to raise the dead? Have you come here to play Jesus to the lepers in your head? That's like, are you just playing Jesus and acting like you're going to heal things? We could take this a number of different ways, but have you come here to play Jesus to the lepers in your head? It's like, have you come here? I'll just be present with it for a second. And you be present with yourself, right? I invite you. So what I'm seeing is kind of like, we have all these cut off parts of ourselves that are like lepers. And they are. It's so sad. It's so sad. It's like the rejected parts. It's probably your most artistic and beautiful part. Yeah, that's what I was just, yeah, she says present. Michelle says present. Yes. And so it's like, I modeled that just now for us. It's like, don't be afraid to just be present. My son sometimes is asking, one of my sons is asking me like, Mom, why are you so quiet? I'm like, you asked me a question. I'm getting into the present. I'm making, it's like a whiteboard. You're making a blank board so you don't have all your prejudices come in. You're like, wait, I'm going to be present and see what's there. Because I have all sorts of preconceived ideas as a psychologist, right? To just tell you, well, lepers means this and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, no, just be present with what's going on right now. Maybe something about Moses will come up, or maybe something will come up for someone who's going to watch this in the future, right? Or someone else that's on here. Okay. And so it's like, the lepers is like, that's what I was seeing, is like these cut off parts of yourself that everyone else says. So lepers, in the Old Testament, and even in the time of Jesus, lepers were put out of the city. They couldn't come in. They couldn't go in. Yeah, thank you. Very genuine. They couldn't come in, and they were cut off from the community. They were cut off from worship. They were cut off from connecting with God in the way that they did in that community, in the Jewish community back then, because obviously leprosy was spreadable. People didn't want those. And so they were put out, right? And so it's kind of like in childhood, there are these parts of ourselves that are like pushed away and said, that's ugly. You can't be an artist. You have to be the doctor. I'm like, I am a doctor. And now I'm like, wait, I'm an artist. But it's like, you have to be this. You have to squish this. You have to play football. Like if I tried to make my beautiful two sons, either of them play football, like their life would be crushed. They're so beautiful and artistic in their own ways that it's like that. But I have friends and their sons do play football and they love it and they're great for it. They're very in their body and athletic, and they just love that. And so it's just like understanding. And so, yeah, our parents, because they have leprous parts inside of themselves, parts of themselves that they cut off, that they were ashamed of. That's usually the parts of us that are ashamed, And so they teach us to push these parts away. It's like, and so U2 in the song, and that we're using to heal all of our old baggage and wounds in one song. I'm going to wrap it up soon, right? As we're almost at the end of the song. It's like, have you come here to play Jesus to the lepers in your head, right? You're going to act like you're going to heal them, but, oh, I didn't see that last. I don't want to push the wrong buttons, but cancel. Oh, chat viewing options. Live chat. Okay, now I can see it. Okay, good. Yes. Know thyself. Yes. It is when you know yourself and you're not afraid to go to any of those parts, like go through the dark night of the soul, no matter how many tears come up. And one thing with all of this is learn. All of this will teach you to stop trying to get your identity externally, and even from within your own programming that you've internalized. You get your identity from God just saying, I made you, I loved you. You know, if you understand Christianity, Christ is saying, Christ came himself to reconcile us with a perfect God. I will be perfection for you. So you don't have to worry about that. And then when you accept that, then there's like a fire that's in you that burns all this stuff out. And it's a really cool process if you yield to it. I recommend it. But I mean, anyway, we can talk about that. I could talk all night about that. Okay, so have you come here to play Jesus to the lepers in your head? Now, you could be like playing, like you're going to just, sometimes people call it a flight to health, or they call it spiritual bypassing. It's just like you're playing this, but it's like, and then the person's being more sensitive again. Did I ask too much? And then it's like, if you're aware, now Michelle, we're aware of this really, right? And everyone else that's come here now and that's watching this afterwards, because we're 100 minutes in, I gotta wrap this up. Did I ask too much? More than a lot. Yeah, I asked you to heal all my old baggage that I wasn't willing to look at. Like, yeah, I asked too much, but that's okay. It's more than a lot. But then it's like, when you go to the other person, when you go to an unavailable person, so we often go back to the same type of people as our parents until we get more conscious and aware. Once you're aware, then you're like, wait, this awareness feels great. I feel connected to love, to God, to divine love. Like, your standards go way higher and you don't go back to that. And so, but when we keep going back to the emptiness and ask, and there's a verse, Jesus says, don't cast your pearls before pigs, before swine, lest they trample your pearls and trample you as well. All right. And so I was reading this. Oh, thank you. Yay. Oh, I'm so glad you do. I'm so glad you do. Okay, I'll have to see you there. So Michelle says she sees me on Instagram too. I'm on all the platforms. Okay, and so where was I? I'll figure it out too. Oh yeah, pigs. Don't cast your pearls before pigs. What do pigs know about pearls? They don't know anything about pearls, right? And so if you had beautiful pearls and you put them in front of pigs, they don't know it. And so I was reading this commentary from the 1100s, and this guy named Blessed Theophylact, this archbishop from Romania, I think. Not Romania, but anyway, he said, pigs can't look up. This is why they squeal until you turn them over, and then they look at the sky and they've never seen it before. And so I look at it like that. It's not like calling people pigs, piggies and pearls, right? Yeah, I will remember, right? Have you seen my little piggies? Oh, I better not quote the Beatles. they'll like take this. Anyway, but it's like understanding the concept. Jesus is always teaching us higher consciousness. So you are this pearl, and this wisdom is a pearl, and all of this knowing is a pearl, and wisdom and moving into this awareness these are pearls. And so when you keep going, hey, why don't you love me? And it's like, don't just recognize them. I loved it. Latoya was saying in that video, like, don't expect you from other people. She's like, dogs gonna be dogs, and it was so funny because it was like, you can't expect a dog to be anything but a dog. Oh, my dog's up. Hi, look at that. Look at what happened. Come here, Leia. Look, right when I'm talking about dogs, dogs gonna be dogs. Now she's the cutest dog ever, right? Hi. Right. Hi, Leia. Hi. No kisses on the mouth. All right, and so, look at how sweet, right? I know. And so, I mean, this is a sweet dog. And this is what people look sometimes like to you, right? They seem like they're going to be really nice, and she's super nice. But, like, I'm going to put her down, give her pets. Here's some petties. Come sit in my room. Okay, so, but you can't expect them to be different than what they are. I just don't want to knock this over on her. So you can't expect them to be different than what they are. And so just let them be where they are. Accept what is. I could go a long time about accept what is. And so Elliot, my friend Elliot Smith was this musician, right? We've already talked about him if you haven't seen it yet, but, and so it's like, he says, he has this song, it goes, everything means nothing to me. And it goes up the scale, but he was like, and there's something else in the other song of his, in the one that goes, oh, yes, dog is God backwards, right? Yeah, because they're so unconditionally loving, you know. Yeah, there's an essence of God in everything in nature for sure. And I know a lot of people that resonate with me love animals. And I didn't even, anyway. So in that song, and there's a song of Elliot's, how can you want any other when you're a world within a world? Oh, I'm so glad Elliot helped you, yeah. So he says, there's, anyway, this idea of nothing, you gave me nothing. If you're talking about your own egotism and even the programming that you got from your parents to shut off all these shadow sides of yourself instead of integrating them and learning how to love yourself and know that you're more than your pain body, you're more than all these triggers that got reacted. But it's like, you gave me nothing and I kept trying to please you, and now that's all I've got. But guess what? The suffering can wake us up to awakening and be like, oh, that's all I got. That's all I'm going to keep getting when I keep giving my pearls to pigs, when I keep being nice instead of kind, when I keep thinking that they're going to heal all my triggers, when I get to take self-responsibility and know that I'm not my triggers. That's just my pain body. I am not my pain body. I don't have to get hooked into it. I don't have to react to it. Okay, and so you gave me nothing. Now it's all I've got. Now, this is what happens with addictions. We go to addictions and we keep thinking, this is going to make me feel better. This is going to make me feel better. And it gives us that temporary high. And then it gives us nothing, actually. And then it strips us from everything because we paid all our money, you know. Just like Elliot said, I spent everything I had. Wanted everything to stop that bad. Now I'm a crash, credit card registered to Smith. Not the name that you call me with. It's like that. You give everything. You give everything you had. And now you gave me nothing. Now it's all I got. But then it's a really good place. And I always say, and I'm not being funny here. I'm really saying, like, you know, when people feel suicidal, it's like, well, that's a really good place to understand. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Oh yeah. Well, she says I do Elliot's songs. Michelle says I do Elliot's songs so lovely. It's because I knew him. He sang them all in front of me, you know, and so it's just like I feel like I get to carry on. Like it was an honor for me to know him. So I'm so glad I sing now because I get to carry on his voice. Anyway, but it's like so. Well, I forgot where I was. It's just talking about when we, thanks. And so when we are bought into the egotism and we think that is everything, then it's like, I'm so glad I dared to just come on here live, Michelle. I'm so glad, and you other person that was here, everyone that comes later, make sure to like this. But it's just because I was like, no, I'm going live. I just felt the intuition, and then I was like, I'm gonna do it. So Michelle and I are in the same time zone. But anyway, so when you spend everything and you get caught up and think you are your egotism, and then yeah, I'm glad, and then you can get back out. Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. If people are suicidal, hello, that was the deep part, right? When people are suicidal, it's like, oh, you just get to die to your egotism. You get to die to your egotism. Look at it like when Eckhart Tolle, the guy that wrote The Power of Now, I did 49 hours of a class I created on Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now. So if you ever want a long, 1 year long class, just ask me about it, or there's links in my descriptions of most of my videos on it. It's like, anyway, that's an investment right there. And so 49 1-hour videos on how to be in the presence. Yeah, but I have all these free videos too. But I'm not trying to just promote a class. I'm just saying, what he was saying is that when he was so depressed and he didn't want to live anymore, he was like, I can't stand myself. And then all of a sudden he got enlightenment because he was like, wait, who is the I that can't stand myself? And then he recognized, no, that's his pain body. He's not that self. So you don't have to die. That's always like the good news. It's like, and I say this to my clients, it's like, what do you have to lose about living life right now and letting go of your old toxic habits and saying no, right? It's like, if I would have killed myself, I would have been dead. And so now I can do anything because I'm alive. Thank God I'm alive. But it's like, I can be courageous and I can do what I always was too afraid to do because I have a new life. Life has come back to me, right? It makes you more daring to be like, well, I'd rather dare. I have it in my bathroom. I have a sign from the lady that invented Spanx. It came on the box, so I cut off. It says, I cut out the box and put it there. It's like the biggest risk in life is not risking, right? Not risking highest love, highest consciousness. Okay, so you gave me nothing, now it's all I got. We're one, but we're not the same. Well, we hurt each other and then we do it again, right? We keep going back into the cycle only because people didn't watch this video. If they watched this video, they would know by now that they don't have to keep going back into this cycle. We don't have to keep hurting each other because we could just know, oh, that's your pain body. Oh, that's your pain body. Oh, let's go take a 20-minute break from each other and calm down. Or let's talk in 2 hours. Let's go watch a funny movie in separate rooms and then come back, right? So we don't have to keep hurting each other. We hurt each other and then we do it again. Suffering can lead to awakening, or suffering can lead to more suffering. It's your choice. So I'm going to finish the chorus and like wrap this up. All right, really. Oh, it's 1:11, right? 1:11. How many minutes? Okay. You say love is a temple. Love the higher love. Love is a temple. Love the higher love. Ask me to enter, but then you make me crawl. I can't be holding on to what you got when all you got is hurt. One love, one love, one life. You got to do what you should. One life with each other, sisters, brothers. One life, but we're not the same. We get to carry each other, carry each other. One. Wow, that was so cool, Michelle. Like, it was, thank you for the hearts. It was 11:11 when you said that, and it was 1:11, 111 minutes on the live clock since I started. That was so wild, right? And so one, and we're singing the song one. Like, okay, so God organizes these things, I promise. You don't have to believe me. We're in a matrix, and like, that's why I just surrender to this. And I'm like, okay, the dog walks in when I'm talking about dogs will be dogs, right? Like, we did a whole hour before the dog came in, right? And so one is this, I know, I love signs like this too. Like Michelle says she loves signs like this. One is what we're talking about. Come back to this oneness from which we came. The Mitakuwashin, the mind womb of God. Yeah, right? And so it's like one. And so when I see 11:11, 1:1:1:1, I think of God. Okay, so 4 is like stability. And I don't do like angel numbers or anything occult, but so 4 is like stability, and God is 1. And we're singing the song 1 from U2, right? And so it's like we're coming back into this oneness. And so when there was just 11:11 here where we are, and where Marcel and I are. And so it's just like, it just means like stability in the oneness. Come back to the stability and the oneness with God, right? And that's in these relationships too. When you know your oneness, you're not caught up in egotism. You're not blaming the other person. You're forgiving, and yet you don't need them. You're detached in the right way. And so, so you say, let's look at God saying this. Love is a temple, right? Love is the temple. Love's the higher law. That's what we're entering into. Love is a temple. Love is the higher law. It's true. God is love, and we come out of that love, and we can return back to that love any moment, every moment. Just come back and stop looking with your outer eyes and thinking that it's out there. Jesus said the kingdom of God is within you, so start seeking that. There's a verse in Hebrews that says, in order to please God, you must believe that God exists, right? So ask God, if you don't believe, help me believe that you exist, and that you have faith that God rewards those who diligently seek him. And this has really been changing my life so much, because I'm like been seeking this one love my whole life, because I have a soul remembrance from where I came, right? I have this remembrance of love, like, you know, I want to know what love is. I want you to show me, right? To just be like in another pop song, but it's like, I know you can show me. I want to feel what love is, right? That's what this is. And so you can go back into this oneness. We're one. You say love is a temple, love the higher law. Love is a temple, love is the higher law. You can go back and know this. Nostalgia, I know, right? That song, Michelle saying. Yeah, I know, but it's like, it's expressing the essence of your soul. You have a soul remembrance that we came from love. You know, it's like, it's in our DNA. It's encoded beyond the messages that our parents gave us, and the parts of us that they cut off, and their insecurities that they put on us, and their bad and their shame that they put on us. It's about identifying. It's not staying in blame. Forgive them. Now you have your life to learn how to be loving towards this part of yourself, right? Okay, and so this person, though, back to the toxic type ego relationship, is like, you ask me to enter to their idea of love, right? Ego love, which is just using and blah, 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 until they know how to move from. Even if you just read that one chapter, I recommend checking out that book from the library or whatever, The Power of Now, From Addictive to Enlightened Relationships. It's the best book description of how to get relationships out of that toxic stuff and your own relationship with yourself. But I'm giving it all to you right now. Usually I charge on my page, I charge over $100 for doing this a song that because I had to pay for permission for the song that I have been using. And anyway, and so I'm so glad. I just wanted to put one online live too. That was another reason for me doing this. But okay, so I'm glad you're getting free therapy. But it's not therapy. I'm not your psychologist. I can't do that online because blah, blah, blah. I'm just talking as a person who works as a psychologist, but you know that. All right, so you ask me to enter, but then you make me crawl, right? Because then the person's blaming you for all their pain. No, I know. No, I'm just, yeah, anyway. So yeah, you ask me to enter, but then you make me crawl. I can't be holding on to what you've got when all you've got is hurt. One love, one blood. We all come from the same blood. Like, but even if you look at it like the blood of Christ, this is the blood that can cover us, make us righteous, bring us back into unity with God. It's a mystery to enter into. I can't in this last few minutes just describe all of what the blood means. It's the blood. Let me think. There's a BB and CC Wining song called "The Blood," and they talk about the whole meaning of it. And there's someone else that sings a song. What can wash away my sins? Nothing but the blood of Jesus. That was like at camp, they would sing that, I think. You know, but it's like, but anyway, I know U2. I mean, they grew up, they talk about Christ a lot. And so I can't hold on to the toxic way of relating. And we ought not to hold on to that. If we move into presence, deep presence and awareness and love, and ask God to help clean us out, you know, and heal all these things in us, then we won't be toxic, and then we attract what we are, you know. And so because we stop being nice, because, you know, just think about, if you ask yourself again with the blank mind, and you go, why? I'm choosing to be nice because. And so I hope that was long enough of a pause, right? And you can push pause too, but other people later, right? But it's like, you know, oftentimes, because we think we have to earn our approval, we think we have to earn their love, but then that's manipulative. So nice is usually never about true love. It's about trying to please the other person. That's what the other video talks about too. But okay, and so you ask me to enter, but then you make me crawl. I can't be holding on to what you got when all you got is hurt. One love, one blood, one life. You've got to do, he says you've got to do what you should, but I have this whole video on don't do shoulds. Should has to do with shame. So we could change that a little, but it rhymes with all this. So you've got to do what you ought, right? A yes, people pleaser, yeah, see? And so you've got one life, and we talked about that. We talked about that earlier, about how I know this man who has maybe eight or 9 weeks, maybe less, hopefully more to live. And it's like, it really helps, you know, because he's my same exact age, that you have one life. It's time to get out of the toxic cycles and learn all the stuff that we just talked about for the whole hour, like 1 hour and 20 minutes, or however long it's been, more than that, I think hour and 40. So here's long 2-hour sessions almost. You can get into this U2's song where we just talked about, Michelle and I talked about this too, but we just got into, so one blood, we all come from one. We all come from this one, the love that we all come from, right? And there's also, they're referencing Christ, I think, this one blood that can reconcile us to a perfect God, because we can't be perfect. And when you grow up with narcissistic a parent or whatever, then you try to take all this self-responsibility to do it all yourself, and you can't. So it's quite a relief to know that, oh, you know, God came to earth to do this. And I know that's a mystery, and it's really deep, but yeah, we're one life. You ought to do what you can, you know, what you ought, you know, in the highest consciousness. One life with each other, sisters, brothers, right? One life, but we're not the same. We get to carry each other. One. Look, it was 11:11 when we were talking about that. And he does 1, 1, 1, 1. Like, that's the very end of this song here. That's so funny. So I'm going to end on that. We're returning back to this unity. That's what the oneness is. It's a reference to that. And so I so appreciate all of you who came by here, and all of you who are watching this later. Make sure to like this and push the share button and all that. And Michelle, I had so much fun. Thank you for coming here. I'll have to see you on Instagram, right? Much love to everybody. I appreciate it so much. And share this with other people. I know, oh, you're welcome so much, right? Much love, much love, much love. And I mean, I did this because I hope all of your relationships can be super healthy now and loving, and especially your relationship with yourself and with God. And then everything else comes in line, right? C.S. Lewis says that aim for heaven and you'll get earth thrown in. If you aim for earth, you won't get earth or heaven. You know, that's like, anyway, I wish you so much love. Bye, everyone. Thank you.